When I thought about how quickly Friday approached, I did become somewhat disillusioned to the point of saying, "All right, this is just why even bother? Why even make the attempt to, um, create something political?" But I guess it's having all of these things you want to do, and feeling as if you just don't have the time to do it. And that's why when I was talking about condensing this and going, oh, I'll just pick the top five, six people I want something on. Then when that's over, we can, if I'm still around, we can see if if any of this other stuff can happen. And I had an epiphany where I said, this is really never going to get off the ground at all, because of days such as this and weeks such as this, where a person has an idea or something they want to do, but because they're so accustomed to just talking about that thing, and for the most part not really challenging themselves in a way of, oh, I'm gonna color this certain way to make sure this looks reflective of the time period it's in, you're never going to see a shift or a change in the way things are done. And it really disgusts me because I want these things to come true, but there's so much stuff that I believe needs to be done, and I'm just one person. So I have to admit my dissatisfaction does catch up on me frequently, especially when I consider that I wanted at one point to just do shows about um, you know the president's lives, Nixon, Truman, Carter, various ones that we've had and that I've had interest in for long periods. It's kind of funny. I mentioned that Nixon's nowhere because the thing with Truman and Carter was that they're close to being my favorite. Nixon's nowhere near that, but I felt a connection with him based off of how his personality was described. The whole loner thing and all that. Not necessarily saying that I am, but just I can understand the need to not let your guard down in terms of what you divulge in many cases, and that's you know a characteristic that I think I had in common with him, or I think I have in common with him. I'm in the present tense, in the past tense, but nonetheless, uh, that's someone I just feel I get. I feel I would be much more adept at writing about, and much more interested in writing about because of the controversy. He's a really complex, controversial figure. Um, right up there with Jackson, with the most controversial presidents we've had, where they don't, they have their detractors and their likers. It's not even you either love them or hate them. In most cases, with Jackson it is, and then with Nixon it's kind of a variance. A lot of people that defend will say, yeah, Watergate was terrible, but look at the other things. I guess I've called myself trying to see the good in many of these events and stories because I want to believe that if I just go out of my way to sit back and try to learn about this stuff, I might be able to finally, um, enjoy what I'm reading about and what I'm checking out. So it's a never-ending saga. But yeah, the Nixon idea is, I would be more interested in probably doing something about his early life than any of the presidents I don't call myself having as one of my favorites. That makes sense. He's in like a second tier kind of thing, and his story just always interested me. Like from beginning to end, his career and then his what led up to it is, I think, worth a look and worth an investigation. But I know that people aren't going to do that if I don't present them with some visual medium, some way of checking this out and reading about this story and topic. And it really sucks because I want um, people to do the research, but I know they won't. And I'm not calling myself, the last prophet of political discourse and information, but I am saying that it almost appears destitute when you when you push it upon other people to go and do their own viewing experience and checking things out for themselves. Um, and that's been my saddest part. I know people like what they like, um, and I've accepted I can't make them into what I think I am or what I think they should be. So I've tried to adapt to ways that they are. because I'd rather just read out the information. But if I have to put it in a visual medium, I'm willing to do that as well. So yeah, the list keeps going, and really the members of Congress are only more difficult because in the case of many of them, we know basic things about their youth, but we don't know you know much about their parents, for example, or people that they were regularly involved with. Um, the reason I kept bringing up Helms, for example, was because even though that was someone I wasn't politically in sync with, he was an individual who we knew fairly, a fair bit about his dad and about his mother. That he lived with them along with his siblings. They've shown what they looked like, the house, all of these different things. So the only part that really became hard to do was just figuring out what did I want the plot to center around, and it's a story that just I expect backlash from people who think it's some kind of love film, but it wouldn't be. It would be designed to talk about a person who, whether you like him or not, was historically significant. Uh, I don't know, I just keep feeling like I'm beating that point to the ground, but I have to admit a level of uh, cynicism, if I'm using that, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, starts to develop because I ask myself, um, is this ever going to materialize? And it's not about not being able to ever do any of this stuff. It's the fact that so much of it catches up with me, and I have all these different things I want to do, and they're all just, what should you do next? What should you do next? And it ends up collapsing everything in its wake. Um, Unfortunately. So let's review our list of candidates. Um, Truman, Carter, Johnson, Nixon. That's about it. Out of the presidents, anyway. And it's sad that we've come to this point where I'm I'm just never being able to fully invest time in these things. They need effort. They need more of me. But I can only do so many things. So I do feel this gradual push to just pull the plug, and we haven't even started. We don't have any clips, any divulging of information, and oh look, this is coming out, and here's a sneak peek, and here's some drawing. None of it. And I just keep finding myself wanting to say, all right, screw it, it's over. Um, but the gradual pull comes in that says, there's still something that can be done here, and there is. I think what I need is to just list everything um, that could ever possibly be of interest to me, and then say what do I have to lose? Like what good story that's going to make people go wow would come from any of these tales. If I do young Nixon, and it's about him from the time he's born to when he's I don't know first year of college, through college, whatever. Would that be a tale that people would want to see if it's based entirely off of facts and it's attempting to convey actual information? Are people going to walk out of that and say, "Wait a second, did he make any of that up? Am I going to read this and check this out?" Or is going to go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd rather if they're going to just shake their head at what's being displayed in front of them, or nod their head, so just in agreement. Yeah, I believe this. I'd rather it be something I create, just from scratch and go, okay, well, no, rather, let me scratch that. I'd rather it be something where I go and look up the information, and the whole film is just the information with me adding in dialogue to get to that point. So they write in the book, oh, Nixon liked this food, and you see me eat that food periodically throughout the film. It's that kind of thing where I'd want you know it to have um, a level of merit to it based off of what is fact, what you can't dispute, um, what is reality. You know, I'd say all the modern ones. Well, these are all modern, so I'd say all the ones after FDR, after Hoover are modern. So FDR is another interesting story, but that's one I can't even picture getting into. It's just there's so much stuff, And then we haven't even gotten into the again the members of Congress or the actors, uh, various other celebrities that are worth something. Frank Sinatra, Johnny Cash. Uh, there's just loads of them that I can't even begin to start with. And when I started writing pieces of that Truman film, I ended up finding myself getting bored quickly because I'm thinking to myself, I have to put 8 years into one movie. Same thing with Carter. I couldn't picture it. I sat there in disbelief. Is this real? Are you serious? Um, it gets surreal after a while because you get so caught up with thinking and thinking about it when you put it on paper, it just you can't believe it. So um, I'm probably gonna end this now, but yeah, I don't know what else to do other than what I pitched right before, but who knows if that'll work. So currently, with the statuses, it's not looking good. Um, I'll see if I can put something together. I don't have the same conviction that I did last week. And again, it's not because I don't want to do it. It's just things catch you and they stop you from being able to, I guess, invest energy in what needs to be positioned to have a time and attention put into it. So hopefully what I said here makes some sense. I thank those that will check this out. Have a good day.